Hello, this is Dr. Shiny. I have a tarot reading for Aquarius for the month of May, and from now on I'm going to be doing 2 readings a month. I'm going to be doing a mid-month reading as well as the first of the month. So I had a lot of requests for that. I hope you enjoy. And for your reading today, for your current situation, we have the Page of Coins. The Page of Coins is a very childlike dreamer type of energy. This is thinking about a vision of material circumstances that would make you happy or would be suitable for you, and that's your current situation. So you've been thinking that there is definitely a place that you'd like to get to. There's a place you'd like to be at, but it's in the initial very dreamlike stages. This is not even right. You haven't even really laid out a plan maybe for it, or written it down or something like that. What's crossing you is the Page of Swords, and this is, or also could be influencing you, not necessarily crossing, but Page of Swords is a very direct sort of go for it energy. That's sort of like jumping in and cutting straight to the heart of the matter, being very direct and pointed with your words. And that's what's crossing you or influencing you. So I feel like you may be struggling with this. You may be struggling to be direct. Perhaps you have you've been in a place where you've been a little more passive, and you're starting to shift into a place where it's necessary for you to assert your mind, your will a little bit more. What we have in your past is the Two of Cups, and the Two of Cups represents a very balanced relationship, and it's not necessarily an external relationship. Sometimes this is between you and your subconscious or something like that. But regardless, there's a strong balance and stability that is formed out of your past that has a lot of opportunity to help you get through this situation that you're going through. So remember that and rely on that. What you have for your future, if you can get through this lesson that you're working on, is the Three of Cups. And the Three of Cups is achievement and celebration, but this is also sort of like joining the club of the people who've made it, right? So when you get to the other side of the river, there's a group of people that struggled the same way that you did to get there, and you grow an attachment and appreciation for one another, and there's a sense of almost kinship there because you're sort of the same type of person. So you have a very friendly type of relationship with your peers in the future here. What we have for the foundation of the situation is the Judgment card, and the Judgment card represents sort of leaving the past behind. This is moving on. This also has this energy about where, if you can imagine, like the moment right before your life is over and you recognize that it's coming to an end, there's a moment, at first you're very, very nervous and anxious about it, but then there's a moment where you're like, okay, here it comes, and you let it go. You let go completely, and that's sort of what this is about. This is about letting go of visions that you had for the past, like, or the way that things had to be, and moving on and accepting what they are, or the new way of looking at them that you have to have. Because when you get new information, when you sort of alter your understanding of the world and your worldview and all that, you can no longer look at the world the same way, and a lot of times you don't recognize that beforehand. So once you get there, once you get that sense of enlightenment or completion, sometimes you want to go back, and you weren't even prepared to feel that. You weren't prepared to want to go back. So it catches you off guard, and it can make you second guess or doubt yourself, but it's a normal part of the process. And I'll explain a little bit more why with your crowning thoughts. With what's in your higher thoughts, what you're thinking about is the Three of Swords. And this is, it sometimes denotes heartbreak. But more than that, it's talking about specifically whenever you make a choice, the options that you leave behind are gone, right? So that's That's a branch in the tree that you did not take and that you won't be able to go back and take again, right? So there's this intrinsic sadness or like brief mourning for all the lost possibilities that come as the result of you making decisions and moving on and going a specific direction. But if you can learn to appreciate those things for what they are, they're the stuff of some of the best poetry and art in the world, and that's a good thing. It's a good thing that we, do have this sense of loss when we make these decisions, or else we're not really appreciating the nature of our decisions to begin with. We're simply puppets, dominoes, So it's good to feel a little bit of loss every time you make that commitment to one direction or the other, but not to let it go overboard, not to focus on it. That's how you move forward. Your advice for the current situation is the High Priestess, and the High Priestess represents your intuition. This is ancient knowledge. This is something that lives deep inside you, that comes out when you're very quiet, when you meditate, when you're very in tune with your subconscious and find a channel of communication to speak with it. This in your advice card, this is normally sort of an advice card anyway, so this is definitely saying clearly to listen to your intuition, to remain open and listen rather than speak, right? And the answer will come to you. It'll come from within. For your environment, we have the Page of Wands, and the Page of Wands represents a new opportunity for fulfillment, for your dreams to become manifested. It's one of the things I noticed about your reading is that you, just like Capricorn, have 3 pages in your reading. You're missing the Page of Cups, but you do have the Queen of Cups as your overall message, so I don't feel like that's necessarily saying that there's a lack of emotion here. You've got 3 Cups cards. But what it does say is that you have an abundance of energy, a childlike ambition and exhilaration right now, and that's something that you can channel. That's something that you can sort of transform into reality, or transform dreams into reality using that energy, What's in your fears card is the Knight of Swords, and the Knight of Swords represents, again, a very go for it sort of, and this may be because of spring coming and everything too. Everybody's got this overabundance of energy. You really feel the season around this time, where there's just spring cleaning and all this stuff, and just old stuff that's not really served you is being cleared away, and you have the energy, it feels like, to just get it all out of the way, to empty out your storehouse so that you can start to refill it again with more great stuff, or organized stuff at least. But in your fears card, this is saying that you're afraid to just go for it, to really put in the impulsive action. And that's natural. I mean, especially for a person who looks the way that you do in these cards. It's pretty natural for you to want to be more careful about your decisions and to sort of overthink the situation and think about how the other person might perceive what you're saying and all that. But your overall message for the reading is the Queen of Cups, and the Queen of Cups is someone who has a really good command of their emotional state. It doesn't mean that they don't feel. It means that they feel really fully, but they don't let those feelings completely envelop or control them. They're able to channel them for their benefit, right? So this is saying, because you have this gift, because you have this ability to control and utilize your emotional state, you don't have to worry as much as somebody who is less in tune with their emotions about making rash decisions, because your decisions are very informed just because you're listening. Just because you're listening to your subconscious, to your inner voice, you're getting information there that you don't even recognize that you're getting. So you can implement your will. You can assert yourself, and others will fall in line. They not fall in line necessarily, but they will jump in line behind you. They will want to build you up because they'll appreciate what you're doing, that you're standing up, that you're being sort of asserting your will. And that's because you have a positive environment that you formed, these friendships and things around you from being true to your will in the beginning. So there's your reading for the month of May, and let me know if you have any questions or comments, and I'll get back to you, okay? I'll see you guys for the mid-month reading.